So hello everyone, I am Crystal Widra and I'm a professional psychic medium, and today I have arranged to do a reading for one of our donators for our cat rescue. So I've started raising money for our feral cat rescue, and it's called Spooky Whiskers Rescue. So I figured that a unique way to use my abilities is to do readings for people. And if you schedule a reading with me, the funds go to our cat rescue. So it's not just into my pocket, it goes into a cat rescue. There we go.
We did it!
I sat on my cat. So sorry. Wilma, come here. I didn't mean to sit on her.
I was trying to do it on the computer, but it didn't work.
Oh yeah, it won't let you do it on the computer.
Yeah,
I figured out that last time because I was trying to do it and it was like, no, you can't do this on the computer. And it's like, oh, okay.
Fun stuff. Technology.
Technology has been not nice to either of us.
No.
It has been terrible. Okay, let me see.
We're getting somewhere.
There we go. Are you coming, Wilma? I was trying to back up some so you can see my notepad. What's today's date?
Oh gosh, the 3rd.
Okay. I was like, okay. All right. So now that we're finally in play.
Hold on. Okay, sorry.
Do you have any questions or anything before we start? I know you've seen my videos before, so.
Yeah, I think the only biggest question that I've had is when somebody comes through, are they going to come through in a way that I would know them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
that's
usually what they do is they're going to give me information that would make sense to you.
okay.
So they'll try and it kind of goes both ways. So they're going to give me information that I can understand, but the information they're giving me is going to be something specific that you would recognize.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. You're joining? She's like, I'm helping. Here, why don't you sit on that one? And then I will use this one. And you can have a pen.
You little buddy.
I'm like, please. Cats. Okay, so is there someone specific that you've been wanting to speak with?
You broke out on me for just a second.
Oh, sorry. Is there someone specific that you've been wanting to speak with?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this a male?
Yes.
Okay. Because I've been having a feeling about you wanting to speak to a male ever since we scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if you're just going to use this one, then I'm just going to put it back here. Is this an older male?
Mm-hmm.
Would this be like somebody like a grandfather's age?
Yeah.
And I do feel, I can't tell if this is someone who's actually related to you or it's somebody that you just have a really close connection with that would feel like they're related to you because you are so close to them. Would either of those things make sense?
Depending on who's coming through, both.
Okay. So the male I'm seeing is definitely an older gentleman that looks like they would be a grandfather to anybody if they looked at them based on their age and appearance. He is thinner build and he's I think he's probably around my height, 5'10". And he does he's showing me where he still has a decent amount of hair. And it's combed over. And I do see thinner framed glasses as well. And I don't know if that's something that that maybe he just wore like in his later years, because that's what I'm seeing him as, is in his later years. But they're a little bit bigger glasses and they're very thin framed.
I think so.
Okay. And he just started showing me his hands all of a sudden. Did he work with his hands? Like, did he do like kind of a more labor intensive job or hobby?
It's tough because
you don't know who it is yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like this person has something to do with cars, like, or mechanical knowledge, or wanting to work on cars, whether this is a hobby or a job.
I don't know.
Okay, because he keeps showing me his hands and they look like greasy. Like they look, like when you have like that black on them, and they look rougher too. Like they're kind of dry. They're kind of like his knuckles are kind of wide. It doesn't look like somebody who, works in an office.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough because of the two different.
And that's fine. I'll just say, okay, you got to give me something different. There's also a ring that he has. It's a gold ring and it's thicker. It's almost kind of like I don't know if it's a class ring or something like that, or if it is his wedding band, it's a thicker style ring. And I do think that he wore a gold watch as well. It might have been silver. It's either silver or gold. It's a metal. It's not like a strap or like leather. It's metal. I had one over here. Hold on. I have one that's smaller. Let me see. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. But masculine. Like, this is a feminine one.
Yeah.
I found this at a thrift shop and I was like, I've had to describe this so many times in readings. I was like, I'm fucking buying it. I do, and I feel like as he's describing this, I'm like looking around the room and I'm seeing like there's some kind of garage area, which also feels very like interesting cars to me, or at least somebody who is very handy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's stuff like everywhere in this garage. So it feels very much like, it's almost like he's very good at like handyman work. Like he can pretty much fix anything, but he's very cluttery. Because there's like nothing that's in like a very specific place. It's like where he knows where it is. Is there a man that's passed that would match this description on your mother's side?
If it's who I think it is, then no.
Okay. Because I heard something about mother's side all of a sudden, so I could be misinterpreting that. I'm just going to write it down just in case. Whoever this is, this man is, he's definitely passed away when he was elderly. He looks kind of tan too. Like his skin is a lot more tan than yours is.
Yeah.
And he has, he's pretty weathered in the face as well, as far as wrinkles. But he does still have a full head of hair. Let me see. What did you do for a living? Maybe that can give us a clue. What did you do? He said, I had the same job forever. I had It feels like it's something that you would literally go like a 9 to 5 job where you would like bring your lunch every day, and it kind of looks like it's like a bigger place, like a warehouse or something. Like it's something. Would that make sense?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Do you know who it is yet?
I have an idea of who it could be. My best guess on who it is. And I also, in my life, haven't had a lot of people that passed away. So if it's somebody that I knew, but I was younger, I wouldn't necessarily know who it is.
Okay.
But I think I know who this is.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. I'm pretty sure I know who this is.
Okay. I was like, don't try to make it fit if it doesn't make sense.
I looked this person up to figure out their company. Yes.
Okay, so it makes sense for like a warehouse type thing. Because it looks like a really big building, and there's a lot of people that show up very early in the morning. They all have their lunches, like they have a specific lunch break. They do something that's very like monotonous, like the same thing over and over again, kind of like when you have like a conveyor belt, something. I'm not saying it's a conveyor belt, but it's something like that where it's like, this is your task all day kind of thing. And he moves around a lot, like within a big open space in this warehouse where I see there's like a lot of shelves and stuff. And there are machines, but I don't know what they're doing. It's almost like they're building or making something. I don't know what the fuck it is, I'm going to be honest.
Well, that's why I had to look it up, because I wasn't positive what he did. Everything you were saying and have said, yes.
Makes sense for his job. Okay, and did he stay at that job the whole time? Because it feels like he got in and he just stayed there until retirement.
From what I know.
Okay. And I feel like he would go in before, like it's like almost like dark in the morning. That's how early it would be when he would go in.
Probably when he was younger.
Okay. Did not realize I had other stuff in this notebook, so now I'm gonna have to skip a million pages and start again. We're just gonna ignore that happened. Okay, great. Does he have like a B name?
No.
Okay, so I heard the word Bob all of a sudden, so it could be like where it's a short name like that, or it could be starts with a B. It's just like, but it feels shorter.
There's no B.
Okay. Would it be a short name like how Bob is a shorter name to where, okay. Is it 4 letters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, because it feels like Dave, something like that, where it's like 4 letters. It's a short.
Yeah, it's a short name.
Okay. And I'm terrible with names. I can describe somebody up and down, even their tattoos, but when they're like, okay, my name is this, I'm like, bitch, what?
Yeah, no. I'm so bad with names.
So bad with names. So I know that it's a short name. I know it's 4 letters. Other than that, I'm like, he says, you're important to me. Would that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm. See, I still wonder, because the more I think about it, it could be either of the first 2 that I was thinking about in the very beginning.
Did they both have the same job?
No. I think
whoever is with this job, because we described the job.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know.
I see that.
Sorry, I'm
like clear as day.
Yeah.
So like whoever is with that job is who this person is.
Okay.
And I'm trying to decide, like, because it's like you're very important to me, but he's also saying that like it's almost like you guys didn't get to know each other in life very very well, but you're important to him in the afterlife. Would that make sense?
Yeah. We didn't know each other super long.
Okay, so then I think that's what he's trying to say, because it's like this person to me in the afterlife right now is still a very important person to me, but I did not get to spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
Is what he's trying to say. Because it feels like he wanted to have a very close, almost like you're my granddaughter relationship, but it's like you guys didn't have almost like the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what is the relationship of this person to you?
He's my neighbor.
He's your neighbor?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Which before this, I did give him permission to come through. So.
Okay.
Or not, not permission, but I did.
You said like, hey, if you're around.
Yeah. Even though it's my neighbor, like I did.
Okay. Because I'm like, it's so weird because it feels like it looks like a grandpa. It feels like a grandpa relationship, but it kind of doesn't feel like that at the same time. And then I'm like, he's saying that he wasn't around a whole lot, but he wanted to be. So I'm like, did he die early? And then I'm like, no, he's old. He didn't die early. So I was just like trying to make sense of it in my head.
Oh, I get it.
That makes.
Well, I don't get it, but.
It makes way more sense now. Okay. So did his wife pass away before him?
Not the one that I know.
Okay. Because I don't see him with someone.
Yeah. I don't know about his previous wife, though.
So he was married before?
I believe so.
Okay. Because it's, when I'm like, he's showing me memories that like in my mind's eye, and what I'm seeing is very much like just him.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that somebody's not around, but it's just like, it didn't feel like there was somebody around a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, he's wanting me more to focus on like his, like himself and his relationship with you.
Yeah.
Did he do something with like landscaping or gardening?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cause all of a sudden he started showing me in the front of the house,
and
it looks like a ranch style house. Was your house a ranch style house? Okay, well, in the front of it, there's like it's almost like a little like a driveway and then a walkway up to the house, and there's like flower beds there. And he is very like particular about those.
Yes.
And the grass. Yeah, he said literally, don't touch my grass.
Yeah.
He immediately was like, don't touch the grass.
Yep.
And I feel like, most of the time when you think of somebody who gardens, you think of like a female is gardening. You know what I mean? Like that's something they enjoy doing. But he's very much like, don't touch my stuff. Like, don't touch my flowers. Don't touch this mulch. Like, don't touch. Like, it seems like he was very particular about his landscaping.
Yeah.
Which is really funny because he immediately has been like, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. And he's like, don't touch the grass.
That was a big one. That was a big one.
Very serious about that.
Yeah.
And he's also saying, he's like, what's with all these lawn ornaments? Why do people want to put so much junk in their yard? He does not like that. He wants a very like clean, fresh look.
Yep.
So maybe that's what we were talking about when I was thinking that maybe he was working with cars because his hands were dirty. Maybe that's what I was seeing, but I thought it was cars instead of the gardening, because it's like his hands are rough and they are dirty, and he kept showing me that, and I think he was trying to say like, hey, like this is what I do, but I took it as maybe he's a mechanic.
Yeah. He loved working with his hands.
Okay.
But the reason I was smiling earlier is the company that he was working for, the description of it. Oh, I don't know if I can tell you.
Yeah, you can, because we've already talked about his job.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Well, when I looked it up, it said automotive sales at Chiron America. It's like, and then I looked up the company, and it's like a manufacturer for automobiles, which
Dude,
I didn't know that. So that's
so
why I was
you
like
didn't
smiling
even
at
know
like,
that.
no.
Oh my God. So it did make sense for the cars. I was like, who likes cars? Who does something with cars? Okay, so
Yeah.
that means, and it was machines making things is what I kept seeing,
Yeah.
but I was like, I don't know what it's making, but it's making like, there's like metal.
Yes.
But I don't know crap about cars, so I'm like, it's making metal things.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Okay, so then that would make sense. So, okay, so when I was seeing that earlier, that made sense for that. But I do think that it also could be his gardening and stuff too. Because immediately when I started thinking about his house, it was like, don't even look at the house, look here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at the yard.
Yeah.
And his driveway is very clean too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no stains on it.
Mm-mm.
It'll be pressure washed if there are stains.
Oh yeah.
And I do keep seeing a ranch style house. So I don't know if that's just like what he's showing me because that's the kind of landscaping that usually like that he had. I don't know if that means something else. It might be maybe he lived in a house like that before. I'm not sure. Or it might just be this is how the landscaping looks. I don't know. But the landscaping is very specific. It's like if you're standing on the street looking at the house, the driveway is on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk up and the pathway goes to the left to the front door. And there's a garage right in front of the driveway. And were you ever inside of his house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because it feels like once you walk in, like you're like in. It's not like a foyer. It's kind of like you're already in the living room, kind of.
It's not a foyer the way that you would think of a foyer.
Yeah, it's almost like you walk in and there's like a little square of where you put shit, like you put your shoes or something, but then you immediately are like walking into the living room. Would that make sense?
Yeah.
If it doesn't, just say no.
I don't know.
You don't
Yes.
remember?
No, I remember. It's not a foyer at all. So you're right on that. Like it's just an open area.
Yeah, it feels very open.
Mm-hmm.
And then it feels like the bedrooms are to the right.
So there is a room to the right. It's a 2-story house.
Oh, okay. See, I still keep seeing a 1-story and I don't know why.
I don't know.
I usually don't have a problem with that. I usually see houses really well, but for some reason I keep thinking this is like a 1-story house. But it does feel like if you go to the right, there's like there's rooms that way. And then the left would be like the kitchen, dining thing.
Yeah.
Is that at least the placement?
Kind of. Yes, but yeah, you've got a room on the right and then on the left would be the dining room and then the kitchen.
Okay, yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like, it's like if you come in through the front door, like to the right would be where a room is. This is kind of like the living area, and then on the left, it's opposite for you. On the left, there would be the kitchen. Okay. All right, so we absolutely know this is who we're talking to. Did you help him when you were little? Like, did you know him when you were a smaller child?
Mm-mm.
Did your kids know him? Okay, because I'm seeing a smaller girl with him, like outside.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like he's kind of showing them like a little bit of like the gardening stuff. Like, hey, put this right here. Like, it's got like new flowers and like, put this in here kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, so then that would be your children, not you.
Yeah.
He said we had a lot of long talks. You were going through a lot of stuff when we became closer.
We had a lot of long talks.
Yeah, he's like we really enjoyed like sitting down and just talking. And he really like he really cherished those moments. He's saying I really cherished those conversations. It was nice to have, because I don't know if either like he didn't have his own children to do that with, or maybe he just wasn't as close with them, but he's like, I didn't have that opportunity with somebody of like her age.
Yeah.
So it was very important to him. He's like, it made me feel like we were family.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, and I was very protective of you guys. And I always wanted to make sure that you had everything that you needed.
Yeah.
And he said, you took my death really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's like, did it come as a little bit of a shock to you? Because he's like, it's almost like she wasn't prepared.
Yes.
Okay. I don't feel like it was a shock to him, though, and his family.
Mm-hmm.
It was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Because he's saying, like, you weren't prepared for it. Like, it was almost like you learned, like, after the fact and was like, what?
you know, we were prepared for it. It just happened fast.
Okay. Maybe that's what he's saying by, like, being, like, you weren't prepared for it. Maybe he meant because of the timeline.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he said the words, you weren't prepared. So that could be interpreted several different ways. To me, it meant maybe it came as a shock or like that. But you're saying we just didn't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Okay. So that makes sense to me. He said this multiple times as I was talking. He's like, I got really sick.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks so now he's like starting to show me like what he looked like physically during his like death state, and it's very frail. Like very like sunken in. And he's a lot more pale, and he has a lot of, I don't know if you know this or not, but elderly people, when they fall a lot, they have those big bruises on like their arms and their legs, and they get skin tears, and he had a lot of that. And it feels like he became physically incapable. It's almost like he's showing me in a bed, so it kind of feels like he's bedridden at some point. But it does still feel like it's in his home, but it's downstairs.
Yes.
Because he's saying I couldn't get up the stairs anymore.
No.
So it's almost like they had to set him up in like a living room or something. It's like out in the open.
Yeah.
And did you see my light flicker?
Yeah.
That was weird.
I thought it was my eyes.
Yeah, I was like, what? He's like, I didn't feel good. I do feel like he was still able to communicate. But it was just it's kind of like he was out of it. Was he on like a lot of medications?
Yes.
Okay, because he's like, I did communicate and I understood things, not like, somebody with dementia, but like I didn't speak as much.
Yeah.
It seems like he was very tired.
Yeah.
He said that his stomach hurt, but I also feel like there's something in his chest as well. But it does feel, was it something to do? I feel like there's a multitude of things, because I'm like, okay, tell me what you mean. And he's like, he started saying something about the liver, but then I'm also like hearing stuff with lungs. So I'm like, it feels like there's like a multi-system, like multiple different things going on. Do you know what he actually died of? Did it involve his liver?
Not his liver,
Okay.
but in the same general area. The stomach makes sense.
Okay, yeah, because it feels very much down here, and he's like, it's like something, he keeps saying something was failing. Would that make sense? For the organ, like failing? And he said we were supposed to have more time. And we just didn't.
Yeah.
I do feel he's saying, but like I'm not like upset that I didn't have more time. He's like, because I do feel very much at peace, like with my passing. He was like, I like was ready.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he's like, I lived a good life. Like so he must have been like older, or at least he was comfortable with going. But he looks like he's in like his late 70s or early 80s at this point. And that could be because of the way he physically looks.
Yeah.
Why is it like that? Okay, well, she'll just come back in. Sorry, technical difficulties. It's still mute.
Can you hear
Yes.
me now? Sorry. I'm not
It's
touching
okay.
anything.
We're all figuring this out. It's fine. We're all new to this. But he's saying that like he was at a point, I guess, like in his whatever was going on with him, he's like, I was like physically and mentally ready to like move on. I felt like I lived like a long, good life, and like I was at peace with going.
Yeah.
And I do feel like he is around you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He said, she talks to me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we still have our talks. He's like, she still talks to me. Do you still talk to him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's like, she still talks to me. We still have our talks. Like, I'm here. She knows I'm here.
Yeah.
I feel like he's definitely tried to show you that he's present. And, do you have something of his?
I don't think I do.
Or is there something that reminds you of him in your home?
Our kids have some things.
Okay, is it smaller?
No.
Okay.
Trying to think to think if there was anything else that my kids got, but I don't think so.
Okay. He's showing me something smaller, so I don't know if like I don't know why he's saying that, but it's something small that he's referencing, and honestly, it kind of looks like a wooden box or urn or something. So I don't know. I don't know what that means, but he showed it to me all of a sudden. But he's saying that like he makes valid efforts to have communication with you often.
Mm-hmm.
And that you do pick up on him.
Mm-hmm.
And have you seen him or heard him since his passing?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think you have.
Maybe.
Because he keeps showing me like his physical presence like in your home. So I think that either he is at least he's there, or he's trying to say like that like you have seen me. I'm not sure, but like he's definitely there.
Yeah.
And he's saying I'm good now. Like he's like referring to his whatchamacallit, his body. He's referring to his body and his like mental state. He's like, I'm good. Like I'm happy and I'm healthy, and like I had a very easy transition.
Good.
And he just showed me again your daughter. He was like, watch out for that baby girl for me.
Mm-hmm.
I love her so much. I mean, he adored her.
Oh yeah.
Like that was his baby.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, that's not my neighbor, that's my baby. Like to him, that is his little girl.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna be with her as she grows up too. And he also just said, I'm very proud of you, because after his passing, shit really went down for you.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, he said, it's almost like the whole world was like crashing down on her. And I felt so bad because that's like the one time I could have like, been there to help her. He was like, and I wasn't around anymore, like physically.
Yeah.
And he was like, and she was just fucking going through it. He was like, there was something with her job, something with the kids, like as far as it feels like custody wise, something was going on. So your job, your kids, and then there was also just like the stress of, it's almost like even little things throughout the days were just not going right. And it was just a very like negative time.
Yeah.
And he was like, and it started to really wear down on you, but he was like, but then you had a complete change of outlook on it. It's almost like something clicked and you were like, I'm going to fucking dig myself out of these trenches. Like, I'm not going to stay down here.
Yeah.
And everything just started to change. Like, you finally started to kind of like dig yourself out. And he was like, I'm so proud of you. He's saying you did not have a lot of help.
Mm-hmm.
Your husband was around at this time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's like, your husband is such a good support system for you. And he's like, I really like him a lot. He's like, he's so good to you and so good to the kids.
Yeah. He knew him.
Oh, okay. He really likes him. And he's like, and I like him more because of the way he acted during this very dark time for you.
Yeah.
He was like, he wasn't dismissive. He's like, some people are very dismissive, when they feel like they can't help someone because like you're venting and saying what's going on and there's not really much he can physically do to change the situation. He was like, but he would just listen.
Yeah.
Like he would listen and then he would, offer like advice if you wanted advice. And if not, he would just say, you know what, that shit does suck. And then just be there with you.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's so valuable in a relationship. He was like, and that made me like him even more when I got to see him do that through that hard time. He's like, and that really helped her start to come out of this place.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry for like blasting that in front of the public. He's like, but I'm very proud of you. And I want you to know that I saw that and I was there with you. And like, I'm very proud of both of you because your husband also did a lot during that time to help. Mm-hmm. And he's also saying you've learned so much. And I think he's talking about your photography. Mm-hmm. Now for people watching, I do know Cassie. We're not like, we don't talk on a regular basis or anything, but like, I do know that you do photography.
Yeah.
And he's like, she's come so far. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I'm so proud of you for sticking it out. He said, you thought about quitting? Mm-hmm. He's like, but you stuck it out.
Like an every other day thought.
Well, he's like, I'm proud of you because he's like, you're doing really well.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, you've come so far. Like, you really need to celebrate how far you've come. He's
mm-hmm.
like, I feel like this is our conversations that we used to have where I sit here and I'm telling you that like, you need to be nicer to yourself.
Oh yeah.
And you need to look at the accomplishments that you have. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you're so bad about that. Mm-hmm. He's like, you're so hard on yourself. He's like, you're such a beautiful, wonderful person and you're so talented. And you're just mean to yourself.
Yeah. He would scold me.
Yeah. He's like, you got to do better. He's like, because you're amazing. He's like, you're doing all of these amazing things and you're just so mean to yourself. And he's like, I hate to see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's like, I'm here for you still. And I'm proud of you and like celebrate the accomplishments that you do have because you've come a very long way. And I think he's like wrapping it up. I think that's really what he wanted to get out is like, I love you and I love your kids very much and your husband and I'm very proud of you and you've come so far and like be nicer to yourself.
Yeah. He would. We had a lot of talks about all that when he was still here.
Yeah. So. Is there anything that you want to ask him while he's still here? Like, is there anything you feel like we haven't covered?
No, just to keep looking at. So his wife is still our neighbor.
Okay.
So, you know, and it's been difficult for her.
Yeah.
So just knowing that he's just with her, just
I think
with her
I think
today.
he's around you guys a lot, and I know we focused on you and your situation because you're the one here.
Yeah.
That's not to say that he's not with his wife. I do think that he
Yeah.
very much would be with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But he just is focusing on like messages because you're the one I'm talking to.
And that's what he would do.
Yeah. But I do feel like as soon as you're like, his wife has been having a hard time, he's like, oh, I'm there.
Yeah.
Like I would never leave.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I'm not like somebody who abandons people. Like that's not my jam. Like I don't do that.
And his personality is very one-on-one. He was very, very good about just one-on-one.
Okay. So that would make sense, because I have some other spirits that when I'm talking to somebody that they know, but then they'll also say, hey, please tell someone da 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 da. But he wasn't really doing that.
Yeah.
It was very like you. And that's not what it usually is like for me. It's usually like they have all these messages for all these different people at the same time, but he was very focused on you. So that makes sense to me, like how the way your reading went.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for him to like, because towards the end, we didn't go see him because we didn't want to see him the way that he was. So it's nice to know, like he's telling me he's because that was a big thing. I was like, I want to remember you the way that I saw you. So we said our goodbyes before it got to
and he's like, I agree with that. Like that's not something that you need to see. Like he was totally on board with that decision.
Yeah. And I think that's why he was like telling you, like, mind, body, everything is good now.
Yeah, because he was like, I want to make sure that this is clear, that like I'm good, like I'm at peace, like I had an easy transition. Like he was very adamant about putting that out there. So that makes sense. Like especially hey, I had an easy transition. Like I want to let you know, so that definitely makes sense for you saying like we weren't there at like the exact, end.
Yeah.
So
but
how do you feel having him come and talk to you?
Good. Well, it wasn't who I was hoping for, but he would have been my second choice to come through. Just because we were so close, and like he was like a grandfather, and how you had said he did have a child, but he wasn't in their life until that child was an adult. So my kids were like his kids.
Yeah.
And I was like his daughter, and we would talk like that. We would have, till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh.
So we would have very, very.
Really?
Even the work stuff that I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I was like, so sometimes I'll be like, I'm seeing this, and somebody's like, no, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna write it down, because maybe if you talk to someone else later on, they'll know what it is. I was like, but if I'm seeing it, it's for a reason. Yeah. So I'm always like, I'm just gonna say what I'm seeing, and if it doesn't make sense to you, then we'll just move on. But like, it means something.
Yeah.
And I've had multiple people be like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure. And then they'll talk to like a family member, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that was blah, 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 blah. And then they'll email me and be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I figured it out.
Yeah. But you said you have someone else that you wanted to talk to, so we can always do this again.
Yeah.
Where you can speak to them as well. And I can always like, if you show me a picture once we already get on live, then that way I can focus on that person instead of just whoever's around.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll definitely talk to you about that.
You what?
I'll talk to you about that.
Okay, yeah. Absolutely.
But no, you did great. It's nice to know that he's there and he's happy. Because that's like, we know that. But
it's like the confirmation of it,
Yeah. But
yeah.
Nope, I don't think I have any questions.
Okay. Have you had a reading before?
I have.
How was this? Was it like to speak with a past loved one, or was it tarot?
No, it was a mini one. It was a spirit led.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool because it's totally different. Like what that person pulled through versus what you pulled through, not for the same person, but it's just so different how they all work.
Yeah.
So, but
it is so different. And that's why I try, like, I wanted to do these lives, and then I try to post like my videos too, because it's like, I want people to kind of see like what my style is.
Mm-hmm.
And if they vibe with that, they do. And if they don't, then they know like not to book with me.
Yeah.
You know, like this
Absolutely.
is what you're getting. And if it's not what you want, that's fine. There's other people that will be able to give you what you want. But I
Yeah.
try to be like, you know, as open about it as possible. Like, this is what the process
Yeah.
is, and this is what I can do, and this is what I can't
Yeah.
do. Like,
No, you do great. I love watching your stuff.
thank you.
So
I'm always like, does anybody care?
I like it.
I'm like, does anyone care? Is it just me? Like,
And it's kind of therapeutic sometimes. I'm like, I don't know.
no, there is very, like, there's so many times like a reading becomes very therapeutic. I'm like, I feel like a psychiatrist right now.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Okay, well, have a good rest of your day.
You too. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.